What's up, guys? Coach here. Today I'm going to teach you all about macros. So many of you have no idea what you should be having for proteins, carbs, fats. What's your calorie break even? What's your deficit? Most people are just so confused, right? So how about we explain it? Here we go. I'm going to do basically someone's macros broken down completely, exactly how to understand it, how to get yourself, burning fat right away and building muscle. Here we go. So we'll use mine as an example, okay? To get to where I'm at, 6'2", about 215 pounds, so 210 is pretty ripped. This is what I do to get in a caloric deficit to lose, 2 to 4 or 5 pounds a week, okay? So it's all about energy in with food and energy out with exercise, okay? Understanding and knowing those numbers is crucial. Keto, paleo, macronutrients, Atkins, it does carnivore, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're eating more calories than you're burning, how are you going to burn body fat? You can't. You can when you're 20, you can't when you're 30, 40, 50, 60. Make sense? So this is a science you can't outrun this, okay? You can't outtrain a shitty diet. And diet represents 80-90% of the battle for actually modifying your physique, okay? So here's how you figure out your macros. First, let's take my weight. I'm 6'2", about 215 today, okay? So a good starting point for protein is usually per pound. So 215 pounds of protein is about right. Now, I exercise a ton, 3 hours a day, and my metabolism is firing. I do this for a living. I have lots of supplements happening, so it's a bit higher than the standard male, okay? So my protein is approximately 270 grams a day, okay? Now, 270 grams of protein is not weighing on a scale 270 grams of steak. Does that make sense? 200 grams of steak has approximately 40 to 45 grams of protein in it. And how you can do that is by downloading an app called MyFitnessPal or Carb Tracker, and it'll tell you exactly how much protein is in each dish, okay? Now, chicken, for example, 250 grams of chicken represents about 50 grams of protein, okay? So if you times that by 5, that's 250 grams of protein in a day. Carbs are a bit trickier, okay? Carbs is the variable. Proteins stay about the same, fats stay about the same, but the carbs float, okay? So if you're building muscle, you want more carbs. If you're burning fat and trying to get peeled, you cut the carbs down. But this is a playing process. Does that make sense? So my carbs, when I'm on a cut and it changes, right now my carbs are sitting at 225 grams, okay? Now that's high for most men, but again, I'm on a bit of supplementary protocol. I work out more than you guys do. I do this for a living, and my system's been dialed in for 2-3 years, okay? In the beginning, most men want to start my size at 185, okay? Now, how do you weigh those carbs? Well, 150 grams of cooked basmati rice, for example, represents about 40 grams of carbs. Well, how do you know? You can take MyFitnessPal, it's got a scan in there, and you can scan the label of all your carbohydrates. So if you're in the grocery store, you say, I wonder if I can have oats or cereal. I wonder if I can have these fries for dinner. Well, if you know your daily goals, and you know that you're gonna have 5 meals that day, divide your carbohydrates by 5. So, I can have about 40 grams of carbohydrates for this meal. So you scan the label on the fries. Okay, so 250 grams of these fries is 40 grams of carbs. But the fats are out of control. And that's the case with pre-made meals and foods that you buy at the store. They're full of sodium and they're full of fat. Now here's the trick. This is the hardest part, controlling your fats. Now most people are okay in the protein and the carbs department. Ladies are often low in the proteins and guys are usually a bit too high in the carbs. But usually this isn't the main problem. The problem is untracked fats. A teaspoon of olive oil is the same carbs as same calories as that half cup of rice. Okay? So if you're putting olive oil in every meal, or you're buying pre-done foods, or you're having steak or full fats all the time, your fats are through the roof. Now, the standard human my size requires on a cut approximately 40 to 60 grams of fat. Okay? Well, how do you get them that low? Here's a good example of what I do, okay? You find sprays. Are these the healthiest for you? Not particularly, but avocado spray, non-GMO organic, only represents 5 calories, okay? See how low the fats are? Now, alternatively, I'll grab you some olive oil, okay? Now look at the numbers on that bad boy. They're horrific, right? So if my caloric break even, or the energy input versus energy output, which we talked about, that number for me is about 2,600 calories a day, okay? But it's only 2,600 calories a day if I do all my exercise, because I burn 600 calories in workouts. So if I skip my workouts, I'm no longer in a deficit, am I? That means that 600 calories is just going to my body, but I'm not pushing it out in energy. Do you understand? I know it's hard to follow, but energy input versus energy output. So when I'm working out, I can get away with about 2,600 calories. When I'm on a hard cut, which I am right now, and getting lean for a photo shoot, I drop down to about 2,200 calories, which are about these numbers: 270 grams of protein, 225 of carbs, and 45 of fat adds up to about 2,200 calories. If you need to know where your numbers are at and what you should be having, you can ask me. I'll respond here in the comments, out in the public comments, guys. That's what this group is for. And I'll teach you how to balance and manage your macros. The only way to truly manage body fat reduction and muscle growth is to understand food and understand the impact of that food on your body. Now, every major food manufacturer, every single company on the planet who makes food and mass distributes it is looking for maximum profit for lowest cost to produce. Okay? Lowest cost, and they also want to preserve that food so it lasts a long time so they can sell lots of it. Well, guess what? The kinds of additives and preservatives and sodiums that they use in this food to preserve it for a long time is fucking awful for your system. Okay? So organic and non-GMO, these are good choices. But there's lots of lessons to learn. I'm a nutritionist, Coach Shenanigans. If you guys have more questions and want to know how to do this, just fire away. Love you guys.